Coming to you from the Schmoes No Network Studios in Los Angeles, California. It's time for Guilty Movie Pleasures. Today, covering the movie Top Secret. And now, here's your hosts, two of the guiltiest cats I know, Josh Macuga and Steve Simeone.
What's up, Schmoville?
That was a live intro from the
awesome.
Ken Knapsack.
It was like being in real show business. It was great.
He's our Rod Roddy. He just doesn't have as sexy of a suit on. Can we get his camera in the corner, JT? Can we show that Ken is here in studio doing his dance? Doing it. Just crushing it.
Do that dance.
Ken, you might be top 5 people of all time in my life. Ellis is a solid 5A.
Thank you.
Simeone 3, definitely 3. Simeone's dad and brother are 2 and 1. Steve, how are you, buddy?
Awesome, man. This movie was great.
Yeah,
You've
never
really
seen it
fun.
before.
Never saw it before.
Nor had I. So I don't know how this. We talked. I don't know how it slipped my mind. Like how I never saw it.
I don't know. It's weird how that happens with certain movies. Like certain movies will become part of my wheelhouse. Like I'll watch them over and over again. And then there's some that just for whatever reason, fate, whatever. God gives you a gift 30 years later after the fact.
You thought you had a girlfriend there for a little bit, and then
I'm all out of love. I'm so lost without you.
How's the rest of that song go?
I probably know the words, but I'm not going to act like I do.
Come on.
Is Steve singing Air Supply? No. If I ever make a lot of money, I could totally hire them to play
Can my
birthday.
ringtone on your phone be Air Supply?
I'm lying at home with my head on the phone. Kids, Google Air Supply. Hilarious.
Guys, if you are a little younger than we are and you don't know who Air Supply is, just do yourself a favor. Go to their greatest hits. It's probably like what are those like collections called? Like the ultimate
Mixes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it's on YouTube, and if there's a girl you just don't have the courage to talk to, just take that link and text it to her.
Check out this video on YouTube.
This song says everything I wish I could.
This movie says everything I wish I could, just way craftier.
Oh, it was good, man.
It was really good. I mean, I love these spoof movies so much. They're like Naked Gun for me. Like when he is looking up and he says, "Nice beaver," and she said,
"Thank you. I just had it stuffed yesterday."
That kind of stuff just kills me. We're gonna have a special guest coming in here in a few seconds. He's a huge fan. This was his request that we watch this movie, and we were gonna do Naked Gun, but we had seen Naked Gun, and the fact that we were welcomed to the fraternity of Top Secret. I think we can thank
it's cool.
This gentleman for it. His baseball team is currently in the playoffs. They're down 2-0, but he is still feeling solid. He and I had 900 drinks last night. Ladies and gentlemen, the co-captain, the captain, the man that sits in the cockpit of the Schmoes No Network, the Mark Ellis. Buddy,
what up, Ellis?
Hard man living in a 2-bedroom apartment by yourself.
Ellis again.
Yeah, and that 2-bedroom apartment was undisturbed this morning until Christian Harloff came over and had to wake me up out of my slumber because of our night last night. So.
You know what's funny is that like a few days ago he texted me, "Did you and Ellis go drinking last night?" And I was like, "No, why?"
Yeah, here's what happened. Is last week I slept through reviews and he was knocking on my door for a solid like half hour. I might have been with a young lady at the time.
Oh.
Neither one of us heard the doorbell. So,
I'm just imagining Harloff ringing all the buzzers in your apartment like Karen and Goodfellas. 4R! There's a drunk that lives in 4R! Find yourself your own goddamn man! Remember? That was one of the best scenes in Goodfellas.
it's one of the best moments in the history of this show. Oh my god, yeah. So then today, this morning, it was hard, but I left I had the gumption.
Bird swirling above her.
When I came home, I left the door unlocked last night, and so he came in, and so I wake up to hear Harloff stirring around on my computer and stuff, and so I'm like, oh, I should probably be awake. So that explains our morning. And I didn't realize that neither one of you animals had never seen Top Secret.
No,
never.
That's incredible to me, and I'm so happy that I could bring that to Guilty Movie Pleasures because it's got to be the first time in the history of the show.
And
short-lived it though
Ken
may
Knapsack
be.
in the building right now has never seen it either. No.
Ken has holes.
JT,
though.
have you seen it? JT?
No, I have not seen this movie.
Okay, and this is a debate that Christian and I had too, is that because when you texted me, Josh, about doing the show, I was very thrilled because this is one of my favorite shows we have on the network, and I wanted to talk about something, and I thought, you know what, you guys haven't done a comedy yet.
We haven't.
Let's do a comedy, and then I'm starting to think, when I was a kid, I loved spoof movies more than anything.
Yeah.
Spoof movies, they're the perfect mix between slapstick and satire. Those were the only comedies that counted to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And The Naked Gun 2.5 is where I started.
Okay.
Right?
Wow, that's a good one.
That was the first one I saw. I'd never seen the first Naked Gun. And then me and my brother were in the theater laughing so hard. I couldn't believe that a movie could make a human being laugh this hard.
Yeah.
So we went back and watched Naked Gun, and so I figured, why don't we do a Guilty Movie Pleasures on Naked Gun?
Right.
And then I'm like, well, you know what? So many people see Naked Gun, and it's not really a guilty movie pleasure because it's such a celebrated comedy, right?
But here's the thing about it is that like it's celebrated by men and not that many women. Like my mom would never sit through Naked Gun. She would never sit through Top Secret.
What is that about spoof movies that
Women hate?
the broads just don't get?
Like my mom doesn't like Spaceballs. She's like, I didn't get it. And I was like,
Did you ever see that Cheers where Sam was trying to think of the only because he was like everything. I think he talked to a priest or a psychologist, and they're like, everything you do is about chicks.
Yeah.
And he was like, I have my boat. And they were like, yeah, but you do that for girls. And he was like, this, for girls. And then they're like, is there anything in your life that doesn't revolve around girls? Do you like anything that women, that you don't use it? And he was like, the Three Stooges. Yeah. And he was like, chicks hate the Three Stooges. I love the Three Stooges. Yeah. And I think it's a similar, like, very juvenile, silly kind of approach to comedy.
it really does hit us at our best of juvenility. Is that a word? Juvenility? Is that a George W. Bush? Okay.
Welcome to the lexicon, juvenility.
It really, like, when you watch Top Secret or you watch The Naked Gun, the jokes are so amazingly obvious, and they kill every time.
They murder every time. And just as a backstory of what Top Secret is, it's made by the same guys who did Airplane.
Yeah.
Airplane was 1980, and that was like a huge commercial success, and it was so funny. And Leslie Nielsen, it launched his second career as a comedic actor.
Have you ever seen a Leslie Nielsen movie? It's not Liam Nielsen, JTE. Have you ever seen a Leslie Nielsen movie that wasn't a spoof? I've never seen him act outside
the
of
Poseidon Adventure.
Okay, never seen
the
that.
original
hysterical.
Poseidon Adventure, and he's a really good actor.
Yeah,
but it's like that's the bad golf guy. You know, it's like I'm waiting for the gag to happen every time I'm watching him now.
Yeah, exactly. So this came out after Airplane.
This came out in 1984. So you had from the guys who did Airplane. Then they would later do The Naked Gun, and I think they were involved in the TV show Police Squad. I'm not sure about that, but Police Squad became Naked Gun.
Right.
Okay.
Top Secret came out, and I don't know if it just missed the mark, if it was because Val Kilmer is the star of Top Secret, and it was right the year before he made Real Genius, and it might have been part of a studio deal.
Place we were last night, Barney's Beanery, is featured heavily in Real Genius.
It is?
Yeah, that's the bar that they go to. That's like the biker bar.
Is it really?
That's Barney's Beanery. It's set up totally different than it is today. It's like set up the old way. If you look in the Barney's Beanery ceiling, listen, I've spent a lot of time at Barney's Beanery. If you look at the Barney's Beanery ceiling, it used to be like the kitchen was in the middle and the bar and restaurant was around it. And then they flipped it, and that's how it was in Real Genius.
By the way, I'm so glad, and I know Steve is too, is that we have a show for you to do during the day so that you're not the guy at Barney's drinking during the day wearing your high school gym uniform.
Trying to start conversation with strangers.
That's a letter. 4-year Letterman, swimming, but no big deal.
What are you reading over there? Yes, I Am by Sammy Davis Jr. Did you get to the part, you remember, in Spinal Tap, Bruno Kirby's the limo driver? Just starting conversations with strangers.
Yeah,
that's me. You know me too well.
We know we're really good friends right now. Everybody in this panel, and so it's all the more shocking. And actually, the way that I was introduced to Top Secret as a kid was one of my best friends, Doug, his family had seen Top Secret.
His name's Doug.
His name's Doug. And they celebrated.
Did you have a friend named Doug growing up?
No, I always wanted one.
I did too. There was Doug Rhodes. He lived across the street, but he was my dad's best friend. He was an adult.
There was the Wonder Years episode with Doug Porter when Kevin got into a fight with Paul Pfeiffer.
Yeah, and
Doug Porter was everybody's second best friend.
Yes,
Oh, that he was like the backup.
Yeah, he was everybody's backup plan.
You got called up to the majors.
His mom made really good snacks.
Yeah, exactly.
Doug's family. Doug was that family where you'd go over to spend the night and you'd call your mom at like midnight and be like, "I gotta get out."
Yeah, I hate it.
They have no ice cream. Their idea of candy is like
granola.
Cashy.
Yeah,
it's like, get me out of here. But
I'm out of here, hippies.
Really good friends to this day, and so they introduced me to Top Secret, and I just saw the cover of Top Secret.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. Because I have a theory. The reason why we didn't see Top Secret, the reason why Kenny hasn't seen Top Secret, I'm wondering if it wasn't like a lot of the movies that I love because HBO and cable showed them over and over again. I don't think did Doug own this movie?
We rented it from Video Update.
See, there you go.
Okay, there you go.
It's never on TV.
I've seen it a couple times now, but back in the day, I had never even heard of it, and all the cover was a cow in boots. It was a cow wearing boots, and it said "Top Secret!" the exclamation point. And so for this show, I'm thinking, like, is that a good movie to do? Because not a lot of people have seen it. But then I also said the way it's going to look on iTunes is Guilty Movie Pleasures Top Secret.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
that's awesome.
everybody's going to want to
Yes,
click on that.
yeah.
It's like a
What's the
confidential
secret?
file, you
Sure.
know?
And Brett Olson, our glorious
That guy's
graphics guy,
amazing,
Yeah, he's
he
awesome.
loves emails and he loves making really great pictures. And I just can't wait for the picture for like the cover of this iTunes and this YouTube. I can't wait.
He's one of the very few people that I gave to my Hotmail account to, and I was like, hey, just don't judge me for still having a Hotmail account. I'm sorry about that.
Weirdly enough, on my flight back from Indianapolis this weekend, there was a woman on her phone and she couldn't access her email, and she was like really angrily like hitting her phone, and I saw her type in hotmail.com into the browser, and I was like, oh, Ellis and her and Johnny McWaster love this.
for falling in love.
Only one person on this panel likes Panama more than you, and I think it's Steve Simeone.
Yeah, well, Steve and I will have heated arguments over who's the bigger Van Halen fan.
Yeah,
But the first time I ever saw Steve on stage at the Comedy Store, he was telling a story about how he could have gone to go see some show that Eddie Van Halen was at, but he decided to go do stand-up instead. And so he was just like, Steve has these great sets sometimes where he's just lamenting his career in comedy, even though it's a very stellar headlining career that he's produced for
him
himself.
at the Improv 2 weeks ago might have been the best 40 minutes of my life thus far. It was incredible.
You liked it?
Oh, are you kidding me? It was incredible.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.
We can argue who the bigger Van Halen fan is, but the best comic on this show is clearly Steve Simeone.
Don't say that.
Don't put that on me.
Despite the
Yeah.
fact that you never saw Top Secret.
Yeah.
I mean, look, as soon as the movie starts, you know what kind of film it is, and you're either with it or you're against
Yeah.
it. And right as soon as the movie came on, it was one of those epiphanies like, I know I'm going to love this movie. Same thing happened to me when the first time we saw Monty Python and the Holy Grail at my grandparents' house. And my aunt got it for her birthday. And all the parents were telling me and my brother, you guys aren't going to get this movie. It's old British humor. But we already seen Naked Gun. And we're like, all right, well, let's see what it is. And the opening credits of Monty Python,
Incredible.
you're already howling. Same thing
like
with Top Secret.
Johnny Dangerously. Have you ever seen Johnny
I
Dangerously?
love Johnny Dangerously.
Yeah, that's another GMP that nobody sees. Like that, the opening credit. I don't want to ruin it if you haven't seen it. The opening credits of Johnny Dangerously is slapstick comedy, same as Top Secret.
Fun fact about Josh Macuga, he actually has a Johnny Dangerously poster framed in his apartment.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
I saw that in the theater because my dad loves comedies, loved taking us to the movies.
can-
Episcopo's Italian! Get the car! Like, just because he was Italian, my dad liked him more. Yeah, you could do that. He's a paisan. He did it. He worked his way up. Like in my dad's mind, Italian guys were just wheeling carts. Like it's I'll sharpen your knife. So like he thought.
Did your dad watch Saturday Night Live and be like, I don't know why this Eddie Murphy fella's getting all
No,
the
he
movies
loved
at
Eddie
Episcopo.
Murphy. He loved, but he would what he thought John Belushi was also Italian because he would pronounce his name. Who, Belushi? Dad, I think it's Belushi. I think he's Albanian. No, it's Belushi. He's from Chicago. That's where all the paisans are from.
All the deep dish you can eat. Belushi.
What do you think you got that belly? That's good living. He's probably got a grandma still alive.
I met your dad one time, and Steve Simone's impression of his father does not let down. Like it's so accurate and dead on. And your dad is such a sweet, gentle human being, but you can also see him being that dad that cannot wait to take his kids to see a movie that he's excited about.
Guys, I got a new tip on a pizza place. Get in the car. What about Mom? She won't appreciate it. What's more pizza for us?
I want to watch Top Secret with your dad.
Yes.
He loved Naked Gun. I don't know if he ever saw, and I remember he loved Airplane. I don't know how this went
What would
through
if your dad were to see this is what I wanted to do today for sure. If your dad were to see Top Secret right now, what would his reviews of Top Secret be?
Phenomenal. Really good work. Like, he wouldn't want to get too excited. He'd be like extra polite. Hey, buddies. And he would just say you're friends with my son, Steven. Yeah, I enjoyed the film. Like, he'd be keeping in the excitement.
You got to break him a little bit.
Yeah,
You got to wear him down. Yeah.
I feel like when we were talking, because when we were talking right before this went on, we were talking about how this is like Val Kilmer before Real Genius and all that stuff, and I was like, man, Val Kilmer is really good looking, and Steve started blushing. He's like, are we allowed to say that
I
about
was like,
guys?
I never thought that. I would say, who's the girl in this?
Lucy Gutteridge, I believe is her name.
How does she never get another movie?
Here's the thing. In all of these slapstick movies, all of the female leads are all extremely attractive and never really did much afterwards.
Why
When you
is
think
that?
about it. I don't know.
The woman in Airplane, Julie Haggerty,
She
had
was in some other
somewhat of a
stuff.
career. Yeah, she had a pretty good career, I
Yeah.
guess. But yeah, and then Priscilla
She wasn't that
Presley
hot,
is mainly
though.
known for
Being
marrying
Elvis's-
Elvis, and then she acted in other films.
Sure, but none anywhere near as good as The Naked Gun.
Same thing as Lucy Gutteridge, and really everybody else in that movie.
I'm
last
thinking
name's Gutters?
I'm even thinking Hot Shots.
Gutteridge, I think.
Oh,
is her name.
I
Like
thought
Hot
you said
Shots and Hot Shots
Lucy
Part
Gutters.
2. Hot Shots and Hot Shots Part 2 had two gorgeous women that never did much else.
Valerina Galino, and that's a name that you should Google. Valerina Galino.
Summer
she
School.
was huge from like the late 80s to early 90s, and then just dropped. I don't know.
Disappeared.
She probably married a billionaire. She was gorgeous.
She probably married like the guy that like founded Ferrari.
Yeah. I bet she did. She was the exchange student in summer school.
Doug Ferrari?
Who am I? I'm Larry Ferrari. I suggest you give me a table, my friend.
Steve, get in the car. We're going to see Larry Ferrari.
He's signing autographs for children. Get live.
Oh my God! I see why this show is called Guilty Movie Pleasures.
Yeah,
We're having entirely
way
too much fun on the show.
So I start watching Top Secret and immediately fall in love. I'm like, when you know when a
such a
movie
relief to hear.
is you know when a movie is good when you can giggle to yourself watching it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you watch something funny and you don't laugh by yourself.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like when you're with a crowd, you laugh more. That's why comedy clubs works. Because
That's why sitcoms needed a laugh track for so long. Is because the people at home need to know that it's funny because
Okay
they're not
to
going to
laugh.
laugh outside
that's why
by
Big Bang
themselves.
Theory still needs a laugh track, Mark.
Yeah.
So, but when you giggle to yourself in a movie, you know it's good. So like and all these movies are so smartly crafted with the little jokes. It's the little jokes
They
that
hit
kill.
singles and then occasionally they'll hit a home run out of the park.
The first home run for me in this movie like crippled me with laughter, and it's just so
This is so good to hear that you guys are this age seeing this movie.
This is 5 out of 5 schmoes, dude. This is 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
When the guy got smushed in the car, and for some reason he's still alive, and his head's in the car, I was like,
She puts the oil in it, and then he gets a boner with the antenna.
That's
I mean,
so
it's
funny.
so good.
Yeah, I mean this is one of those movies that you can quote endlessly.
Yes.
and pretty much every joke still holds up today, but you don't know
Without
as
a
an
doubt.
adult like watching spoof movies because today spoof movies are just not funny like the ones that
Yeah.
they make today. I can still go back and watch The Naked Gun and Top Secret and Airplane and laugh.
still
But I
laugh.
don't know if that's because I saw them when I was a kid and so I just give them the pass, or if they're actually funny. It's hard for me to watch these movies with virgin eyes now. And I'm glad to hear you guys did.
it was interesting.
And I was thinking that to myself on the ride over here, was like, why after the Naked Gun franchise, basically Hot Shots, maybe like the last great spoof was Hot Shots Part 2, like as far as like slapstick goes, right? Because that was the last one.
I think you had two incredible actors that are very underrated. It's Leslie Nielsen in Naked Gun and Lloyd Bridges. Lloyd Bridges makes Hot Shots.
Yes.
Lloyd Bridges,
Yeah.
Christian and I talk about this a lot too, is Lloyd Bridges, it might be the most perfect comedic performance I've ever seen in a film because he simply does not miss.
No
line goes unlaughed at.
Every time my family has gone on a cruise vacation, I think about my hat falling off and going, stop the boat. Don't worry, we'll get it on the way back.
Tape his favorite shows. He won't miss anything. But yeah, and then so maybe it's just those two guys getting older and then passing away, and there's just nobody to carry that torch. But Top Secret is so incredible because it's not Val Kilmer's movie. He's the star of it.
Sure.
But it's the jokes movie.
Yes.
There's so
all
many
these movies
great
are the
jokes.
jokes movies. I
Yeah.
think like Liam Nielsen. God. Jesus, JTE, you're in my brain.
Should creep in there, man.
No,
He's
like
good at it.
these movies, the jokes crush. Yes, okay. Leslie Nielsen's performances are incredible, and they make all. But like this movie didn't have a standout star. Like Val Kilmer's not a standout star in this movie.
No,
but
and you know what I was going to say? The jokes are so good in this that I'm not a big spoof movie guy. I appreciate
Really?
them. Yeah, I appreciate them for what they are.
that came out of left field. I thought. You
Yeah,
might
seriously.
Be, yeah.
I prefer more character-driven stuff. I prefer I love the John Hughes stuff. I love all the stuff that grew out of the National Lampoon.
Sure.
Anything Harold Ramis ever touched. Anything where it's more story driven and
Like
the
a
jokes
Caddyshack or Stripes, that kind of thing, yeah.
Absolutely, that stuff I love.
You
But
want to mock me? Go ahead. I'm an easy target.
yeah, dude, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It's one of my all-time favorite top 3.
Yes.
Not comedies, top 3 movies of all time. Planes, Trains,
And my
Automobiles.
dad was a road salesman in the car industry, and he loves that movie.
Oh, that
It's
movie
spot on.
is so good.
Yeah.
But these movies, it's like they just work, and when they work, they're great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many quotable lines, like what you were saying when the guy shows up and he's in. Even before that, my favorite line from that particular guy in the movie is when he just he's in East Germany,
Yeah.
right? And this driver makes a turn. He's like, "Driver, where are we? This isn't the Howard Johnson."
Yeah.
It's like, who goes to Germany and thinks there's gonna be a Howard Johnson right there when it's Nazi occupied Germany?
And the fact that Howard Johnson's doesn't exist anymore makes it even that much more funny, too.
Okay, okay.
gosh.
That's okay. I thought it was set in the 1980s, right?
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be East Germany's communist, right?
Yeah.
And then somewhere I think the movie became like a World War II
It started to keep
Nazi
going further and
occupied,
further
and I was
back.
like, French resistance. What is
Yeah,
this?
with the carrying pigeons.
Is that Sergeant Stoltz? Like I thought it was going to turn into.
There's
Hogan's
just so
Heroes.
many great parts of this movie, from the point when Val Kilmer is this, he's like in Elvis. I mean, I think the movie started out as a spoof of Elvis movies where let's just put Elvis Presley into any situation. Like
Have you
Eddie
ever
Murphy's
watched
bit
a
from
full
Raw.
Elvis movie?
No.
Yeah.
Really?
They're
I've never had.
Fantastic.
Really?
They are
I've never seen a full Elvis movie.
fantastic.
JT,
Yeah.
have you ever seen a full Elvis movie?
Negative.
Ken Knapsack, full Elvis movie.
I have not, sir. I have not.
Interesting. See, Elvis is the only one.
Let's
who-
bring this
Have
all
you?
together. Val Kilmer as Elvis in True Romance. Great performance.
Yes.
Ah, that's right. Yeah, he's
Yes.
played two great singers
Yeah.
in his career.
Neek.
And so he goes over to Germany because they want to put on a rock and roll show, right?
Yeah.
And
It's like when Metallica played the Red Square in Moscow.
very good. Yeah. You know what? I was going to say when Billy Joel played Moscow, but I like your example better.
Thanks, Mark. Being the largest Metallica fan on the days.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, and then it turns into a spoof of war movies. And once he meets up with the Resistance,
Yeah.
when you meet Nigel and Chocolate Mousse and the tree.
Dude, I thought Chocolate Mousse was Yorsi. They look. If we could get a picture of our buddy Yorsi, they look exact. Because I'm like, how old is Yorsi? Did he have a burgeoning film career before?
Basically, Chocolate Mousse is the Jim Brown in the Dirty Dozen, or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Magnificent-
totally.
Dirty
is
Dozen.
gasoline.
Yeah, yeah.
My favorite line in the entire movie, though, and
Go.
I'm going to say it now, even if you haven't seen the film, this is not going to spoil it because it's just that funny.
Yeah.
It was actually spoiled to me by Doug before he. That,
Doug.
Damn it, Doug!
Bad
this is-
snacks and spoilers.
This is the line that he dropped at Video Update to get us to rent the movie because he was going to have a
Wait.
sleepover
The
at
name
my
of your
place.
store is Video Update.
It was called Video Update.
That's
yeah.
incredible.
And so we're looking at
Did
comedies.
you have
and-
Did you have a hometown store that wasn't Blockbuster?
Yeah.
What was it called?
Videotape library. Very creative.
Really?
We just had a Blockbuster in my town. We didn't have a video store before Blockbuster.
Yeah, Williamsburg was too small to have a Blockbuster. So,
Okay.
but when you grow up, you realize that the local video store was better because the local video store had the curtain.
The adult.
Yeah, so you could sneak back and
ding.
yeah. But
Ding.
and occasionally we try to do that. I remember Doug stayed in my house a lot. We had the good snacks.
Sure.
The Ellis family was the ones with
The fun.
yeah. He
The
would,
Macugas had no soda, no sugar cereals. we
Oh,
were the
God.
lamest house on the block.
We were
That's
the
where the
fat
Flanders
family.
is.
We were the Flanders. Our toys were always broken because I broke them like the first day that we had them.
Wow.
All of our Transformers, none of them worked. And my brother hated me.
Our house looked like a war zone. Like there should have just been smoke. The roof should have been caved in with just smoke coming off. Like
yeah.
I guess we were
three
spoiled
boys.
because like everybody else used to come over, and my mom, like Doug, actually he got so cocky he would actually ask me. He's like, "Hey, do you think your mom can get some toaster strudels?"
Hey,
'Cause
Doug,
he knew that his
pump
mom
the
would say no.
brakes.
Yeah, so he'd
Ease
come
up,
over,
Doug. Ease
and this
up.
is the line he dropped. We're in Video Update, and he points to Top Secret. He's like, "No, dude, it's like it's made by the same guys." And I'm like, "I don't know, I've never heard of it. How could it be funny if I've never heard of it?" You know, like an asshole 11-year-old. And he
Jesus,
says
Ellis,
one of the
cocky.
Yeah.
one of the lines in the movie, and it's still my favorite line to this day, is there's a scenario where there's a guy who's like in critical condition, right? And the Nazi from prison makes a phone call to the hospital, and all you hear is the Nazi talking on the phone, and he's like, "I understand. Let me know if there's any change in his condition." He hangs up the phone. He says, "He's dead." It just murders me.
You know it's coming and you still laugh. It's so
just
good.
so good. And there's so many little jokes like that. This is one of those films you have to see 3 or 4 times
Yes.
to process everything that's flying at you.
yeah.
You know what I love about these movies too is that I feel like being on set for some of these movies would be so much fun because what's written on the script is maybe like 70% of what we see, and then 30% is them like, let's try this. Let's try this. Let's try when he starts doing the dance moves and then he spins and buzzes a hole in the dance floor. You're like, let's try this, right? Let's try and like make the French, you know, and it just works in the sense of I want to be able to be that funny at some point in my life.
It felt so loose. When you watch this movie, it feels like they're throwing everything out. It's like they're in such a good rhythm.
Yes.
Throughout this entire film, and that doesn't happen today, especially with spoof movies, because the spoof movies today, they try to be like Us Weekly and just be so topical that it loses all of its humor within a week.
Do you know what I think that this spirit of comedy lives on is in the Family Guy.
Yeah.
I really do
Yeah,
in Family
I
Guy
love Family Guy.
because Family Guy. When it works, it'll make you scream with laughter.
Yes, yeah.
But it's still not as like story driven as like
No.
a classic Simpsons
Right.
or something, or a South Park or something like that. But it will go off on these tangents just for the laugh.
Yeah, the quick cutaway, like in Top Secret, and when they're about to try to invade the prison towards the end, and it's this morning scene, and they're all like, and you hear a bird chirping in the background, and then Chocolate Mousse gets out a huge mallet and just boom, just squishes the bird. It's like there's just so many little things like that are just non sequitur.
Yes.
It's a very freewheeling
Ridiculousness, so funny.
And you and you want
Fun.
in your own life to that sometimes like be your life, right? Where like a slapstick joke actually is implanted, and you're like, this is perfect.
You say funny stuff, and like your family doesn't laugh, and you're like, that's your guys' fault.
Yeah, that's not on me.
Yeah,
dude, that's not on me. I think what's beautiful about these movies too is, okay, so Top Secret was a spoof of like World War II spy movies.
Yeah.
Basically, and then each one after that is a spoof on a certain set of like genre, but it never steals from the other movie.
As far as taking
storyline.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? Like so like all the spoof movies, like Scary Movie, all the like the modern ones.
I know what you're saying.
They all steal from one another. It's like,
and it feels like they also like they have to stick to a certain amount of some sort of linear storytelling, which is like, oh well, this happened in that movie, and they borrow from a lot of movies, and they throw a lot of jokes in there. So some of that spirit is still alive. It doesn't hit the way it used to. And again, I don't know, Steve, and we're all professional comedians on this panel, and I don't know what the answer is. I'm not sure that you can make a movie that's a funny spoof for me to see it as an adult. I don't know that it can happen.
Listen, I'm with you. Go ahead.
I was going to disagree with that because
I hope so.
Because Top Secret, I've never seen it. I'm an adult, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. But I was like, oh my God, if I saw this when I was 12,
oh my God,
I would have been quoting it my whole life.
Yes.
Like, it was kind of like, they say you better start saving early for retirement because it'll yield more returns over life.
Yeah.
I feel that way about great comedies. Like, if you can watch them when you're 12, like I saw Caddyshack when I was 7. It's been with me my whole life.
Absolutely.
So you can go back and you can quote it and be a part of it. This movie made me laugh as a full-blown grown-up.
I mean, when you're talking about the foundation of, because I think every comic or really any human being has some sort of foundation of comedy that you grew up with, that what made you laugh as a kid, and that forms your sense of humor as an adult. And so for me, Top Secret is right at the top of the list.
Right.
I mean, it's that. I never really saw Caddyshack till I was in college.
Really?
Wow.
So I think it's spoof movies. It's mainly spoof movies, and then I got into Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And I was a huge Eddie Murphy fan when I was a little kid.
too.
But I think that spoof movies like Top Secret were the biggest part of my foundation.
That's interesting.
I don't disagree. I mean, movies, I think maybe the one that really kind of started me in comedy was UHF with
Weird Al. Great movie.
But I consider that a spoof movie too.
Yeah.
I mean,
for
the
sure.
opening shot is him, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
It's just hysterical.
Yeah. And these, I mean, Ken, if you want to chime in, or JT, chime in, like, we haven't really seen, you're a Naked Gun fan. I know you are. We've talked about it. Like, these things, we don't get served them anymore. It's like when you go to Olive Garden, right? And they took your favorite thing off the menu, and you're like, where is, the beautiful stuffed pepper with penne Alfredo, right? It's not there anymore. Where did it go?
I think it's almost like how if a pitcher is throwing a perfect game, right? And he comes back to the dugout, you're not supposed to talk to him.
Yeah.
If he's throwing a perfect game after 4 innings, it's fine. You're hanging out. That's what Top Secret and The Naked Gun were. It's the 3rd inning, the 4th inning, the 5th inning. We're not taking this too seriously yet. And then you look at whether it's Mel Brooks or whether it's the Leslie Nielsen movies later, like Robin Hood Men in Tights or Dracula, Dead and Loving It, and all these movies that just spy hard, that just didn't hit as hard as they used to. It's almost like they realized that this thing was a precious gem, and they started to behold it a little too much, as opposed to just go out there and have fun making a really funny movie.
JT?
I want to blame all those epic movies and like scary movies where they were just like, they were literally just doing it for money.
Yeah.
They were just referring to every pop culture item they could think of.
And showing like a few boobs here and there.
And they were horrible. Yeah. Horrible.
Meet the Spartans is just it's a travesty. I remember watching that thinking
that's a spoof on 300, right?
Yeah, and it just has it's got all the chance in the world to be hilarious, and it just falls so flat.
Kenny?
I just think for me, you go back to Hot Shots. There's just some really smart writing in that stupid thing that doesn't come from references. Where Lloyd Bridges is going, pudding? I mean, that's just a hilarious, funny scene. It's just comedy.
Yeah.
It's not worrying
about
being
casting? Is it casting in the writing? This is a legit topic. I don't know.
I think comedy in general is at least cinematic and television comedy. There's a lot of great stand-ups right now. I think. But
Are we just not getting things made because movies don't get made unless they're superheroes, and that, like, the smart comedies aren't getting made?
I don't know.
I mean, it almost seems like you have and I think Judd Apatow's fantastic, and a lot of those actors in those movies are great, and it almost seems like that's the core, those are the people that we trust to make our comedies now.
Yeah.
And it seems like back in the day you had more avenues to get comedy
so
out.
many different approaches.
Yeah.
You had like One Crazy Summer approach, the spoof movie approach, the Harold Ramis approach, the John Hughes approach. I think there was just more talent then.
Yeah.
Like, I really think, like, if you look at somebody like Bill Murray, the way he's revered now as like a national treasure is because he's that good.
Yeah.
Like, Bill Murray, there's more laughs, I hate to say it, in the first half of Stripes for me than the last 5 years and all the movies combined Hollywood's put together.
Here's what really makes me nervous about that and where we're going is because you look at a film like Dumb and Dumber's a spoof movie to me, right?
Okay.
Is it a spoof?
It feels like a spoof to me, or it's at least
not
that
a spoof,
same,
but it's that silliness.
It's got a lot of slapsticky elements to it, and it's Jim Carrey.
It's my favorite movie ever.
In his
of all
absolute
time.
prime.
It's one of the funniest.
Now,
it's a masterpiece.
You have Dumb and Dumber 2 coming out later this year, and I've seen the trailers, and I giggled a couple times, but it makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Really, I'm gonna be like watching a Redskins game when I'm in that
I'm not
theater
gonna go
because I
see
just
it.
don't know how I'm gonna handle it.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait until the word on the street, because if it's like Caddyshack 2, I'm not even gonna watch it. I've never seen Caddyshack 2 beginning to end.
I've
never
seen
watched
enough.
it.
Okay, I saw Dan Aykroyd in it for 5 minutes.
That's it. And I
I
said,
I'm bailing.
click. Yeah,
Major League 2, no good. You know what I mean? It's
so. Kids, if you're out there and you're funny, if you're making your friends laugh at the cafeteria table, pick up a book called Save the Cat, start writing comedies. We need it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to write comedies, but it's hard work. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to do it, but I know somebody out there watching this video will, and you have an obligation to put that joy into the world and inspire the next generation.
Future generations, seriously, go watch Top Secret, watch Naked Gun, watch Hot Shots. These movies that, like, inspired us to be where we are and to try and be them, the next generation should also watch them, because what we're getting now shouldn't inspire.
And I think it goes back to Steve's point earlier too, is that it's a cyclical thing with comedy, and I think a lot of it does start with stand-up, not just because that's what we do, but it's also, that's the most purest form of comedy you can possibly have, because it's just somebody being funny on a stage and people laughing. You tell a joke, you get a laugh, and then there's so many things that comics go on to do that spawn things like this, and you realize that you want to make people laugh, maybe not on stage, maybe you want to start writing instead, or do sketch, or do improv, or act, and that's the way that it starts, and it's such a good time for stand-up right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully that means that in the future we're going to get more comedies, and maybe like with all the different ways that you can make a movie and how inexpensive you can make a movie now, maybe we get great spoof films again.
Yeah, and great comedies in general.
The fact that you and I watched Top Secret and still laughed out loud to ourselves so much
on a phone. I was watching it on a phone.
Still means that it holds up and we can do it.
You know what's great is that our conversation here, it started out we're laughing like every 5 seconds, and then we got really serious
about laughter.
That's what happened to spoof movies.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I had a great time on the show. Like this is, but these are important conversations to have. And when you're talking about comedy and how precious it is, sometimes you have to get serious just to show people that we're not just telling poop jokes up. Like we really love this stuff. Yeah, you know.
Please rip a fart right now. No, look. We really love this stuff.
What is let's go out on a high note. Mark said his favorite moment was when the German's dead. What was your favorite moment in the movie?
When that guy was mangled in the car. Killed me.
My favorite was when they pan to the audience, like the girls are fainting and they're all holding up because they're in East Germany, and they spell his name Neek. N-E-E-K. I love that.
And one of the best things about any spy movie is when there's like two people that are supposed to meet up and they have that code, like the sun is shining on a grassy or whatever. And the code is this guy shows up to this other dude and he's like, "Do you know any good white basketball players?" There are no good white basketball players. Oh, it's so good.
John Stockton would tend to disagree. Dude, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks,
we love
Alice.
you. Thank you for introducing us to this movie, Schmoville. If you have never seen Top Secret, go watch Top Secret. I know Ken and JTE have never seen it, so they're gonna go see it. It really, really was a guilty movie pleasure. Short, just an amazing boat ride.
It's a spoof movie outside.
Is there a leaf blower outside right now?
That's our effects guy.
That's our effects guy. Thanks to the Leaf crew and everybody here at the AfterBuzz TV studios. Mark, what do you got coming up you want to promote or anything?
You can obviously follow the Schmoes on Twitter, at SchmoesKnow on Twitter. I'm 5150 Ellis, and this weekend I'll be at the world-famous Comedy Store with one of the funniest human beings on the face of the planet, our buddy Rick Ingram, and I'm going to be at the Comedy Store in La Jolla this weekend in San Diego, so coming out to that.
Yeah.
Guys, I have a new CD coming out. The pre-order should be up this week on iTunes. It's called Remember This. All the info will be on awesomesteve.com. It's got my Twitter. It's got my Facebook. My Twitter at Steve Simeone.
And you recorded your CD out in La Jolla.
In La Jolla, where Mark's going to be this weekend.
Mine, yeah, okay, good.
Yeah, get to the castle. And if you guys subscribe, rate, like this, rate it on iTunes. Watch my show Between the Sheets every Monday on youtube.com/thecasualmafia. My Twitter at Josh Macuga. Thank you guys, as always, for watching Guilty Movie Pleasures. We love doing this, and the fact that you guys are watching helps us keep doing it. So tell your friends, and be inspired, and be funny. We'll see you guys next time.
Later.
From producers Christian Harloff, Mark Ellis, and the entire Schmoes Know Network crew, we would like to thank you for listening to Guilty Movie Pleasures. What's your pleasure? Special thanks to Kevin Undergaro and Maria Menounos, the author of Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness, in stores now. To watch or listen to other Guilty Pleasure movie episodes or other episodes of the Schmoes Know Network shows, get movie news, or to join the conversation, be sure to visit schmoesknow.com. I'm the Pit Boss, and this has been a presentation of the Schmoes Know Network.